I wanted to take you guys through my current pedal board. I'm going to do another video with me playing through some of this stuff, but for now I just want to show you the pedals I'm using. I come out of my guitar, go into this Newkirk buffer. It's a hand-wired buffer. I tried this at the end of the chain, and it seems like putting it at the beginning of the chain gives me a little more high end. It restores it a little bit better than when I put it at the end, so I've kept it there. Got a cheap little GFS tuner. It does its job. It does what it's supposed to do. Happy with it at the time, but I go from the buffer to the tuner into this Ernie Ball VP Junior. Use it for volume swells, stuff like that, into a Crybaby wah. This is just an original Crybaby, nothing fancy or modded to it. I like, even though it sounds kind of funny, I like the low or the high end that you lose running it, because a lot of that I'm getting back with the buffer. But I go from this Crybaby into this Bosch compressor. I'm still trying to figure this thing out. I'll set it up pretty good for a clean tone, and then go to use it for a dirty tone, and all my gain is gone. So I'm still trying to figure this thing out and how to set it right, but I'm working on it. I go into this JHS Morning Glory. I've never seen one quite like this before. I've seen some unpainted ones without the graphic or the stamp, but this is the first one I've seen this way. But basically your blues breaker modded with more headroom, a little more gain. I love this thing. I've got it set kind of low, not a whole lot of gain. Just adds a little bit of warmth to my sound. Then I go into this Paul Cochran Timmy. Sometimes I'll stack these two. Just depends on what mood I'm in and what I'm going for, but I stack them pretty often. Next up, I'm using a full tone, full drive 2 for that tube screamer thing. It sounds good. It does what it's supposed to do. I've got it set a bit higher, so I go from the Morning Glory a little bit of gain. Timmy has more gain. The full drive 2 has even more. And lastly, I'm hitting up in my drive section the full tone OCD, using it for boost for leads and solos. And I believe I've got it set on the low pass filter. Next I go into this thing. I'm not using it. It's just on the board at the moment. That's just a cheap tube screamer copy. But what's neat about it, it has two tube screamer circuits in one housing. And it really doesn't sound that bad. It sounds a little harsher than the full drive, but if you're on a budget, it's really not that bad to mess with. Next, I'm going into this hand-wired Phase Vibe. Never seen one of these before. I don't even know what the toggle switches do. I just know I like where it's set for that nice phaser kind of thing. I only use it for clean stuff, but it sounds pretty good with some chords and basic stuff like that. Next, I'm going into this Donner Love chorus, a cheap chorus, but again, it serves its purpose, and it really doesn't sound that bad. I don't see the point in spending a lot of money on a chorus when it's not something I use very often, and this works just fine. Next, I go into the TC Nova delay. I love the fact that you get, the multiple presets. I'm using 3 at the moment. One is the U2 kind of sound, the quarter note and dotted eighth note delay together. I think 2 is a quarter note delay for most of my stuff. I use that. And then thirdly, I've got another one, a quarter note delay with a lot of feedback and longer delay times for volume swells. Again, 9 presets, you can't beat that, and it sounds really, really, really good. Lastly, I'm going into this Behringer reverb machine. This will be my next upgrade when I get ready. Don't know what I'm going to go for just yet, but this thing actually does what it's supposed to do as far as verbs are concerned, and I only use it for one setting. Is that I forgot what they call it, a space, which is your shimmer reverb, is what I'm using it for. It's all powered by these two Joyo power supplies, which will also be upgrading at some point. But they work, and they're not terribly noisy, like I thought they would be. And although this sounds almost sacrilegious to run all this stuff through solid state technology, but I'm going straight into the Digitech RP500. I have a matchless amp setting for the churches. like where I play, it's much better than an amp in a lot of ways. I'm going, you know, 2 XLR direct outs into the system, so I get everything I want out of my monitor. I can't complain. I have a nice clear mix, and there's no amp volume messing up the mix on the stage, which the sound man loves. And honestly, I'm very happy with how this sounds. At some point I will, you know, pull out one of my tube amps or something and maybe go that route, but right now the RP is really working for me. So I'll give you one last shot. I know it's not as impressive as some of your boards, but I'm quite happy with it. And I'm sorry for the shakiness of my iPhone. It's the best I can do right now. Thanks.